during race season to just have a bed to sleep in at a racetrack. $2,500 a week. I could rent the freaking Taj Mahal for $2,500 a week.
Probably.
So
I just want to say it's 20 from Charlotte to Phoenix.
2,100 miles.
Yeah, about 29.
Divide that by the 5.
29. That'd be 4.
Come on, calculator boy. 421. So about okay.
Oh wait, sorry. Hold on.
Come on, everybody.
413.
Yeah, we're
413. Sorry.
413.
413.
All right. So 400. It's 413 of whatever, but that sounds bad. So, anyways.
All right. So anyway, back to the studio board that they had from Nevs that they had.
Thank you, Donnie.
That was great.
You like pulled the stick back and
I thought about that one. I was just wait, we're going on a whole nother tangent, but I got to bring it back to the document.
yeah, do it. Documentary. Thank you, folks. Appreciate that reminder, Donnie. And Duke and Codfish. Yeah. Anyways, this sound that came through this board was unlike anything else. It was so mellow and so rich. And when you recorded it, and it was all recorded on tape, there's nothing digital. When it recorded it, it was just, it was a difference between a cassette and a CD just going through that console itself, right? It made everything super rich. Everybody recorded there. Linda Ronstadt, the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac.
That was where Fleetwood Mac. That was where Fleetwood Mac got together.
Yeah, exactly. That's where they became a band, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because there was this drummer by the name of Mick Fleetwood, and he had a keyboard player, Christine McVie, and her husband John McVie, but they were looking for a guitar player. And Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, it was Buckingham Nicks, was the name of the band. It just got done recording stuff there. And then Mick Fleetwood had showed up and was needing a guitar player, and he just happened to hear some of this guy's playing, Lindsey Buckingham. He was like, okay, I want that guy. He's like, here's the thing, though. To get him, you got to take her. And we're talking about Stevie Nicks.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did, and then, of course, it turns out to be one of the most influential bands ever.
That's the story of Fleetwood Mac, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks. Next, we're going to have the recipe, Donnie, of sweaty balls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's great.
Anyway, what was this documentary called?
Documentary was called Sound City. And everybody recorded through there, but then it kind of started showing the demise of Sound City because of digital audio.
Mm.
Because they'd stayed old school tape machines. And a lot of bands appreciated that. Hell, Nirvana recorded their first album there. Foo Fighters recorded their first album, second album there.
Nice.
Yeah, the second album for Foo Fighters is actually the first Foo Fighter album.
Oh, okay.
And the reason being is the first Foo Fighter album was a demo tape or demo recordings put together by Dave Grohl that he did himself, every instrument, and just recorded that just to be recording stuff. And then that's how the Foo Fighters got their start. He turned in the demo tape and all that mess to have some people listen to it, and they're like, "Well, what do you call your band?" Gosh, I don't know. Foo Fighters. And he was just kind of saying it as a joke coming out of his head. And later on, you could hear Dave Grohl in an interview, and he said, "Yeah, when they told me to throw a name out there, I really didn't take this too serious, so I told them Foo Fighters. If I'd have known that was going to get that famous, I would have damn sure thought of a different name." But anyhow, yeah, they went through there and recorded, and Guns N' Roses has been, Poison's been, everybody's been through there. Well, they were closing it down, and Dave Grohl had heard word that this place was closing, and he called and asked what they were going to do with that soundboard, because this soundboard was probably 16 feet long.
Yeah, it was a massive soundboard,
huge soundboard. And so Dave Grohl bought it and and then built a studio inside another warehouse. Built a studio, which turns out to be a really good thing, because they built that studio to record a lot of their stuff there. and other people. Other people use that studio too. But it's also a place to warehouse their gear and stage stuff and all that crap, right? So it's a big old warehouse. But they set this console up in this room, and they tried to make that room that they built inside this warehouse as close as possible to what they had at Sound City. And so it kind of carried some things on. And then once they got that console installed there, it's called Studio 606. Once they got that console installed, he got in touch with a lot of the old artists that had recorded at Sound City, like Fleetwood Mac, Paul McCartney. Gosh, who else? A bunch of them.
Who is that? Who is that one guy? That
Frank Black. Frank Black and the Catholics.
But it was that man. What's that guy's name? It was that famous '80s singer. Not Jesse's girl.
Oh, Rick Springfield.
Rick Springfield. He was doing
And Leaving from Fear.
Yeah, Leaving.
That was really good. But they put an album out of just kind of a collage of Dave Grohl and all these other artists singing with him on songs. Yeah, and it's pretty cool. But it's kind of a I don't know, closure thing for Sound City and a welcome to your new home kind of thing.
It's a good documentary.
Yeah,
it's
really
good
good.
documentary.
I love music documentaries. I'm not a big crime documentary kind of person.
No.
I like documentaries that make me learn something or stimulates my brain. So if there's a documentary on, let's say, forging a knife or forging in period, I'm all over that.
Or a documentary about forging with a knife. It's going out and forging food.
That's foraging.
Right. I thought you said forging. You said forging? Making shank?
Making shank.
A whole documentary about making.
Where the hell did that? We just lost the show.
Off the rails.
Shiner, what about you? Have you gotten into any new shows or any documentaries or anything?
The Epix channel has a really good documentary on punk.
Yeah, and I want to watch that. I want to try and find that.
Man, it's good. I mean, it goes from the MC5 all the way up through like Green Day and Offspring, and
that's rad.
It is so freaking interesting, dude.
If you
it's produced by Iggy Pop, so.
Oh yeah. If you like punk-based documentaries in any way, shape, or form, there's this documentary called Tulsa Underground, I believe. And
I've heard of this.
It is a local documentary about the punk scene surrounding Tulsa throughout the ages, and well before the Sex Pistols came up. I mean, that's featured in the documentary as well, but it followed the punk scene all the way through Tulsa as well. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
The Sex Pistols actually played Canes, and that was one of the only U.S. dates they ever played.
Yeah, didn't they have they had some like four shows that whole the first tour, the only tour they ever came on. It was just like Midwest.
It's crazy. You got Madison Square Garden, and
and they cover that in this Epix documentary. They talk about how they cool. It was like 4 or 6 shows, and it was all through the South for some reason. I can't remember. Oh, because I know why. Because when Malcolm What's-His-Face, that was their manager, he booked it. He thought that that's where they would get the most publicity out of touring, because they would be most offensive to people there, and people just fell in love with it.
Oh, how flippin' genius!
Yeah.
Yeah, they played down in I think Fort
Georgia was another some little town in Georgia. Yeah, he took him to these really small places, and he was just hoping that they would offend people and just generate all this crazy publicity.
The Warner Robins County Fair.
Well, I'll tell you what's crazy about that documentary is the Ramones, they kind of took them over to the UK because they just couldn't really, they were kind of almost doing it here all the time. They just couldn't really break through. But they took them to the UK and they exploded.
You know what's funny is for a while I convinced my youngest son that the Ramones was actually pronounced the Ramones. Yeah, and he called them he called them that until I hadn't spoken to him in quite a while. Yeah, he called them that for
quite a while,
quite some time. Yeah, Yeah, but he sure did.
The Ramones, man.
The Reminisce.
Yeah, that epic. That's the best. One of the best music documentaries I've seen in a really long time. I don't know who filmed it, but I mean, man, the thing is just on point.
Hey, you were a skater coming up, weren't you, Donnie?
Yeah, I skate a little bit here and there. Yeah.
What'd you listen to when you were skating?
When I was skating, I listened to Black Flag.
He's probably like,
I listened,
George Strait, Garth Brooks, that good skating music.
I had my time and day. I listened to Black Flag quite a bit. I like Henry Rollin.
Mm-hmm.
He
really
is
cool.
a smart.
That guy's genius.
Smart,
yeah, whenever he took over,
Well, and he's a massive history buff.
Oh yeah. He does
Didn't
those
he
two.
actually have a show on the
Yeah,
History
He's
Channel
had
for a
several
minute?
shows, and that's crazy to me. Like,
Yeah, one of my favorite shows that he did was 10 Things You Didn't Know About.
Yeah, I heard that was a great show.
It was, man, because he would tell you about something that you would swear to God you were an expert in, and he'd show you 10 things you didn't know.
Never even thought about.
Yeah.
He is, man. He is incredibly intelligent.
yeah, I like them. I like the Cramps a lot too. I don't know if y'all listen to the Cramps. At all.
Not a big fan of the Cramps
It's
himself.
like for a long time, like the guy, people in the skates.
Not a big fan of the Cramps. I'm sorry.
Oh man!
Sorry, guys.
And then of course, the Miss. I have my punk stage, and I tell you what, it was prime time for skateboarding back then. That was when everything was being discovered. New tricks were just coming out left and right. It was kind of make or break.
It was
More-
a prime
more-
time.
Yeah, I mean, Rodney Mullen. Let me tell you guys something about Rodney Mullen. Y'all know anything about skate? Y'all know skate? Anything?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Rodney Mullins. That guy was crazy. That guy went to college and studied physics so that he can invent new skate tricks. I'm not kidding with you. he invented the kickflip.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy invented everything. Everything.
And just about everything revolves around the kickflip. I mean,
What about
in some
1080?
way, shape, or form.
That's ridiculous.
1080?
Can't even do it. Barely can do 900. I give it 10 years and people be doing 1080s on us. Cause have you seen any new skateboarding footage recently or anything? These people are. It's absolutely crazy compared to what it was. When I was growing up. I mean, just the kind of tricks that they're doing is just absolutely. I don't know.
We got Donnie wound up.
I got a little excited there.
Yeah, he's kind of into the skateboard thing like that. And I'm if you want to put me into some alternative sports, and I'm assuming that we'd call, skating, motocross, all that alternative sport.
Yeah.
Nitro Circus.
Oh yeah.
What about it?
Dude, that would be the most fun live thing to go to.
Yeah,
It'd probably be like sensory overload at first. You'd be like, "Oh shit, what am I supposed to watch?"
You're watching this. You're like, what he's jumping a bathtub. He's jumping a bathtub. A bathtub. Yeah. A bathtub.
Over 19 dump trucks. It's crazy. He's beating Evel Knievel's record out here with the bathtub. It's ridiculous.
But yeah, they're doing like taking big wheels down a ramp and double back flipping them, and
I mean, they are living the Evel Knievel lifestyle, man.
that Travis Pastrana, man, the day he was
Travis Pastrana.
Pastrami. The day Travis Pastrana was born was the day Evel Knievel took a step back.
Man,
Those are big
Dude.
words.
It is big words, yeah.
he's
There's a big
Pastrana's
difference between the two, though.
recreated a couple of his jumps.
And did them on an Indian instead of a Harley, but
Mm-hmm.
still did them on a regular bike-ish frame.
Isn't that crazy, though? Well, because that was the thing about Evel Knievel is he was jumping. The bikes that he was jumping on were just so heavy. It was
Like
just
Harley Sportsters.
yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You suggest that to somebody nowadays, and they're just like, "What, are you crazy?"
I'd like to thank S&S Harley Davidson for
I'm gonna jump.
giving me this bike
fountain
to
at
jump.
Caesar's Palace.